Let a few more people in the room. All right, guys, happy day before Thanksgiving. I'm coming to you excited, coming to you live, getting ready for tomorrow. I went 4 miles on the elliptical last night. I didn't lift any weights. Then I sat in the sauna. And so I'm ready for tomorrow. Am I going to have some pie? Absolutely. Am I going to have some deviled eggs? Yes. Does grandma cook these crazy baked beans with butter and pineapple and bacon? She does. And so I am clearing out some things so I can make room for those things, and I will not feel guilty. We're also doing a turkey trot tomorrow to earn money to feed the hungry in Stockton. And so I'm really, really excited about that. But you guys, I want you to reflect. If I was to ask the question, what are you guys grateful for? Everyone would give me probably this: their health, their family, their friends, their home, the food in the refrigerator. I think that most of us would offer or say the same thing around what we're thankful for. And so as you guys reflect, I want to talk about that in a minute, but here's what I want you all to really, really be thankful for. And I want to put you in a state before we even get started about the market and what's going on in the market. And I saw this, and it's from this dude named Corey Allen that I follow. And maybe you follow him, maybe you don't, but you should probably give him a follow. And it said this: I want you guys to think for a moment, and I want you to be grateful and think about your past and think about who you've become. Because think about wherever you're at on this call, whatever you've been through in your life, trauma, drama, heartache, drug abuse, drug addiction, alcoholism, all the things that we've battled. And I'm saying this honestly, you guys, I'm 10 years in of not drinking and not having alcohol control my life. And I think back, like, who have I become? So as we're thinking about thankfulness of all the things that you guys are grateful for, I want you to turn this conversation internally and tell yourself that you did that, right? Whatever you've been in, you got your license, you did you're showing up on social, you're doing the things, it's hard. So like, you did that. You changed, you trusted your instincts, you put in the work, and you made it happen. So remember that the next time that you start doubting yourself, the next time that you feel like, oh, I might not be able to do this, look at what you've become and be thankful for all the things that you've been able to create in your life up to this point. And listen, you're just getting started. The road to evolution, the road to self-analyzation, and the road to growth doesn't just stop, right? That you guys are in the middle of that journey, and we're going to be in this journey until the day that we die. So I want you guys to reflect today and tomorrow. And as we're in the state of gratefulness and thoughtfulness and thankfulness, think about what you've become, what you've been able to achieve, the milestones that you've been able to accomplish in your own life. And I want you guys to really, really be thankful for yourself. And of course, be grateful for all the things and all the people and all the love and all the relationships in your life. But first and foremost, I want you guys to be thankful of what you've become and who you are as a person today. You guys with me so far? Does that make sense? Spend some time here, spend some time here, and spend some time looking back at everything. But man, I think about where I was at 20 years old, 28 years old, 38 years old. I'm going to be 44 in a couple of days. I'm really proud of everything that I've been able to accomplish, and I'm just getting started. So do some reflection and get internal and do some journey inward in the next couple of days. So guys, I wanted to share a few thoughts with you. I don't know if you guys have ever heard of this method before, but I'm going to share my screen. I got a couple things queued up for everybody. I don't know if you guys have seen this before. Has anybody ever heard the acronym from Phil Jones? It is OFQ. Has anybody ever used this formula? You probably have. Maybe you didn't know what it actually was, but I wanted to share this with you. And I'm actually going to drop this article down in the chat below, so don't worry about this. Here's what we need to stop doing, especially this time of year, especially in December. Stop checking in with people. If you've been with me for any amount of time, I've said this in the past, but I felt that it was applicable for this moment, for where we are, because you're doing a lot of reach out to consumers. Forget the whole, I'm just checking in. I think the checking in conversation is so shallow. I think that it's empty. I think that there's no depth to that. I think that that is just an empty way to touch base with people. Hey, just checking in. Okay, Thanks for checking in. So here's what I want you guys to focus on, and I'm going to give you some food for thought, and I'm going to give you some things to fill in these details. So when you are making these calls and you are following up, as promised, Mr. Johnson, Tom, whoever you are, you have some actual facts, and then you couple that with a question. So it goes something like this. So the opening, hey, Tom, it's Elias with EXP Team Fast. I'm calling you back as I said I would, or I'm calling you back as I promised. Here's the fact. The fact is that interest rates hit a 7% in the last couple of weeks, and it's the lowest we've seen interest rates in the last few months. That's a fact. We all know that. What is the question? The question is, I'm not sure if this is for you, but have you thought of exploring what a 7% interest rate does to your buying power, how that impacts your monthly payment? Have you thought about that? Well, no, I don't know. That could be $100, that could mean a couple $100. Do you know that how that could impact your buying power right now in this market? How would a couple $100 extra dollars impact your buying power right now as a consumer? Maybe they were on the fence because they didn't have that extra money. So when you do an opening, when you a fact, and when you couple that with a question, now you can get them involved in a conversation, because I'll tell you what, you guys, they have an opportunity right now. I'm going to share some statistics. I'm going to share some stats with you. Based on what's happening, there's a 21%, 25% of the homes that have been on the market have had price reductions or have offered seller concessions. So how can I take that and put that into my flow? And how can I take this same formula and the same sequence when I'm calling sellers? Hey, Tom, following up with you, as I said I would. Not sure if you know this, but interest rates just hit a 7%, 7.1, 7.125, whatever that number is. So as a seller, I know that you said you were waiting, but right now that means that there is more buyers in the market right now because they have more buying power. And I know that you said you want to move to Arizona in the summertime or in the fall time or in the winter time or in the springtime. Knowing that there's more buyers in the market right now, would you be open to the conversation about potentially listing your home, knowing that we have more buyers in the market right now, more demand? So there's ways to take this framework, and I'm going to give you some stats, and all you need to do is say, okay, let me practice this, let me articulate this, let me put in some real facts about what's happening in the market, and then be able to share that with the consumer. Otis, let's go to you really quick, and then we're going to continue the conversation. Oh, Doug.
You hit that right on the nail. Like, I had that same conversation yesterday with an investor that I was talking to when I went on the showing, and I was letting them know, like, this is the perfect time. A couple months ago, a lot of people, a good agent would tell you, it would be better for you to wait a little bit until interest rates drop, which they are doing right now in the beginning of the year, where you'll see people come back to the market. What we're seeing right now is a lot of people coming off the sidelines because rates are dropping. So from a seller standpoint, you can spin it as, hey, you are been seeing price reductions like crazy, and we're going to.
Oh, we lost the audio. Love you too, son. All right, Otis, we lost your audio, so we're going to let's try it one more time. Let's cut your camera, and then that way we can just get the audio.
My bad. I was like basically saying you hit everything spot on it. For your sellers, you're seeing those price reductions in certain areas. So that could be a good point for you to be like, interest rates are dropping, so competition is coming back. People are getting off the sideline. And for your buyers, you need to tell them, hey, if you guys want to capitalize on this Christmas giving with seller credits and everything, we need to hop on it now, because as rates continue to fall each week, that means more people are coming in. So sellers aren't going to be as open to paying closing costs or giving you any type of credits, because there's a heap of load of people coming back in. So it's a great introduction to leeway into any type of seller buyer combination that you're going for. So really study up on your markets and how you could move through it in the next 60 days, where people are going to be tending to holiday stuff and not really too much to home. So you can start putting those seeds in. So the top of the year, you have a listing or you have a buyer in contract.
That's right. That's right. So here's what I want to do, you guys. Just know the framework. So it is the opener, right? Elias, EXP, Team Fast. I'm giving you a call back as I promised. fact, whatever that fact is about the market. Interest rates, statistics show that there's more inventory right now. Statistics show that most of the homes that are in contract, or 25% of the homes that are in contract right now, have had some type of seller concessions or price reductions. Does that impact, and would that change, and would that make you consider or reconsider entering the market, knowing that you have more ability and more power and more savings monthly based on when we talked last? So I'll give you some thoughts here, and I'll give you some examples, and I'll drop these here, and I'm going to get our lenders in on this conversation. But before I do so, there's an amazing article, and I'm going to share this article with you guys, and it says pending home sales rise to highest level in a year. And why this is super, super important is that you have to look at this report, and it goes right here. The supply crunch has eased slightly, giving buyers more options to choose from. The more homes that were on the market, the more obviously can sell. New listings in October were comparable with September's level, which was the highest in 6 months on a seasonally adjusted basis. They fell 4.5 from the year earlier, but that's the smallest decline since the summer of 2022. So here's what I want you guys to do. I want you to look at this report. It says here, sellers are cutting prices and offering concessions to entice buyers. Check this out. 1 in 5 homes that were sold, which represents 20.8%, in October had a price drop just shy of 21.6 record high that we hit earlier, hit in the year earlier, excuse me. More than 1/3 of the sellers are offering concessions, which can include money for repairs, closing costs, and or rate buy downs. People have to move. No matter what, there's some people that circumstantially they have to move. Whether it is a divorce, whether it is a job, whether it is a relocation, there's still reasons that people need to move. I thought this article right here was super, super great for us to be able to break it down and be able to pull a couple facts out. So when we're doing an audit, meaning when we're calling through our database, right? We have all these calls that we want to make. Am I lining myself up with information that I could potentially talk to consumers about that is factual, not just my opinion? And when we look at this, and our lenders can probably shed some light on this. So here's some projections of where interest rates are going over the next couple months. And now, obviously, I am not an expert on this, but you can see here that it's projected for interest rates to be around 7.1 Q1 of 2024, 6.6 in Q2, 6.3 in Q3, and 6.1 in Q4. Now, obviously, things change, but it gives you an opportunity to speak to all those sellers, to speak to those buyers that may be on the fence about interest rates or wanting to wait to see when the markets change. These are things that we need to be talking to our consumers about, making sure that they understand, here's what's going on, here's the reality, here's some facts that I can hit you with. And so I'm just going to share those two things with you. I'll drop this in the chat below, but based on the formula, based on this conversation, I want to get some of you guys involved in this. And feel free to raise your hand. If you were to use this sequence, this opening, this fact, and this question, knowing what you know about where the market is, how can you instantly put this into your flow to have better dialogue? Because here's what I want you to do. I want you to look at the list of people that you're going to call today, Friday, Black Friday. Like, all right, I want to audit these calls. I don't want to just call to check in with Ryan Fong. Hey, just checking in. How was Thanksgiving? Nah, it's okay. No, I have some facts about the market. Based on those facts, how does that impact you as a buyer, right? Or how does that impact you as a seller? So it's material facts about the market. So knowing this formula, who feels that they can put it into play? Who feels, and just raise your hand or give me an emoji, or who's already doing this right now? And now we've just quantified the formula based on Phil Jones's approach. Does anybody want to try that out live here on the call with me right now? To be in a real live pressure cooker, coaching session. Who wants to do this live with me? And it's okay. It's okay. If you fumble, I would prefer that you fumble here. So if you don't raise your hand, I'm just going to call on 3 people to use this formula. So go ahead and throw your hand up. If you don't have your hand up, I'm just going to call on somebody. All right, cool. So we're going to go Katie, we're going to go Ryan, and we're going to go Samandy. And then that's going to be the flow. So Samandy, you ready? Ryan, you ready? Katie
Yeah.
raised her hand. So, all right. So, Katie, so knowing what you know, and I can pull some of this up for you so you can see that recent report. But let's just go. And listen, it doesn't have to be perfect. You're going to go back and you're going to refine this presentation. So let's go, Katie.
Okay. So, hi, Elias. This is Katie Curling. I'm calling today to see, or I'm calling to see if I'm calling. Sorry, I've never done this coaching thing like this, right? So
Okay.
thank you. So this is perfect. I've noticed that sellers are cutting prices on their homes and they're offering sellers concessions. I know at one point that you didn't have all the funds for the closing cost. Would you be open to a conversation regarding this so we can kind of see which path you need to go?
Yeah, actually, I would. Okay, and stay with me. I like this. You know, I think it's in your best interest, or I would recommend that we go out and go tour some of these houses that we probably have the best opportunity to negotiate. And if anything, you at least get to see the inventory, you at least get to see what's on the market, because right now you have more advantages than you had 3 months ago. That's a quality conversation, Katie. I like the way it sounds. Like, I like what you're doing. So perfect that. And I love how you said there's still seller concessions. And I would literally hit them with these stats right here. I would literally hit them with roughly 20.8% of the homes that were sold in October had a price drop, which is just shy of the 21.6 record high a year earlier. So what that means is that 1/3 of sellers are offering concessions, which could mean money for repairs, closing costs, mortgage rate buy downs, so on and so forth. That would impact you as a buyer, right? Well, totally, that would impact me as a buyer. Wonderful. That's why I'm calling. That's why I'm calling, right? I'm not just calling to check in. So that would impact you as a buyer, right, Jeff? Well, totally. Absolutely. That's why I'm calling everybody in my database right now, because this information is that important. Make sense?
Yep.
So, okay, cool. I love this. And let's go, Ryan. Same approach, big dog. You're calling me. You're not checking in. You're calling me to give me a fact. And then you're asking me a question, how that would impact me, whether I'm a seller or a buyer. Doesn't matter. Just go.
I was driving by the area and thought of you. I got some info that could impact your situation. Interest rates right now, they're the lowest we've seen in the past couple months. I wanted to know, have you thought about exploring what a 7% interest rate will do to your monthly payment?
No, I actually haven't had that conversation. I didn't know they were that low.
Yeah, they've actually been coming down and they're projected to be even lower in the future. Why don't we take some time and sit down and I can break through what those lower interest rates can do to your monthly payment?
Yeah, man, I'd be open to that, man. I'm still a little fearful, but I'd be open to that. And you know what, Mr. Buyer? I was talking with the lender the other day. Now, every case is a little bit different, but my lender, Ashley, was working with the client, and that monthly savings based on the new interest rates was right around $200, $250. Now, everyone's case is a little bit different, but is it safe to say that that amount of money definitely makes an impact on your affordability? Of course it does. So cool. Let's at least hop on a call. We'll rerun the numbers again, and that way I can show you what is possible. And also, about 28% of the homes that are on contract right now and have sold in the last couple months have had seller concessions. So the fact that interest rates are down, sellers are still offering concessions that we can potentially buy that rate down even a little bit further. Ryan, that's why I'm calling. I'm excited. Let's give Katie a giant round of applause, because that shit was fire. Really, really good job. I love it. Really good job. Samantha, you're back in the den. All right. She had to go. She has parakeets. She has dogs. She has camels in the house, all kinds of noises. But Samantha, let's hit them with it.
So are we doing like a role play? I'm sorry. I was having connection.
It's okay. So here's what we're going to do. All you're going to do is you're going to do the opener. Hey, it's Samantha, eXp Realty Team Fast, following up with you as I promised. The fact is that interest rates have hit the lowest they've been in months. And here's the question based on the fact. Okay. So it's kind of like tying that all in, and it's almost like a tie down, meaning how can I use this information to tie them down, to have an appointment with me and just to talk about what their options are today. Make sense?
Yes.
No, listen, I'm not looking for perfection. I'm looking for practice.
All right. Hi, this is Samantha. I was giving you a call. How are you?
I'm well. What's happening?
I was calling you because remember you said you wanted to wait till interest rate drops, because when we were looking, it was like at 8%. Well, I got good news, and I feel like you need to take advantage of this because obviously you have seen it go up and down within weeks worth. And right now they're at a 5.99. Like, this is the best time to buy. And I know it's during the holidays, but if you have a purpose and you have a goal, you're going to start now while everybody's saving for their Christmas gifts. And there's less buyers out there for you to get into a home. These houses are going to sit a little longer, which is good for us as long as we get out there. And let's lock in this rate. This is your opportunity. And if, you know, the time comes 6 months after you get into contract and they drop lower, we can refinance and bring you down a little bit lower through the whatever lender. And yeah, just take advantage. I know sometimes you feel like the houses are probably going up, but if interest rates do drop, your house is going to have more value. So you might as well do it now that everything is kind of leveled. So when they do go back up, now you have equity because your house is going to be worth more.
All right, let's round of applause. Listen,
Okay.
you're on the spot. And so here's all I want you to do. OFQ, just remember that, OFQ. So this is framework for when you guys are building your dialogue, when you're calling your database about the market. OFQ, opener, fact, question. Now that you know the formula, all you have to do is fill in the blanks, right? If you're a seller, right? I know that you said you wanted to wait till interest rates came down because you were A, afraid of getting into a replace property, or B, you didn't feel that you would get enough eyes on the property. Well, guess what? I have some really, really good news. Now, based with that new knowledge, would you be open at least having a conversation with me so I can show you what the demand's like in your area? Well, sure, I'd be open to that conversation. So you just OFQ, when you work that formula, now you just fill in the blanks. Now it makes conversations more rich. So when Vernon calls, when Ryan calls, when Aaron Chris calls, guess what? They sound like an expert. They know what's going on.
I just got to
Right?
be calm and not too hyphy.
Yeah, not too common. Listen, I got some great information that I need you to know. And like Ryan was saying, I love the way that you said this, Ryan, and I'm not sure this is for you, but if have you thought of exploring what a 7% interest rate does to lower your payment and may do for your home search? Like, how do you say no to that, right? And then people are going to be like, no, whatever. But like, how do you say no to that? So here's what I'm doing. Judith is on the call right now. Judith, I sent you something a little bit earlier on Instagram. If you can, and it doesn't have to be done by the end of the call, but if you can transcribe what I sent you, and it has the entire script. Also, if you guys are on the team, I want to share this with you, and I'm going to come to our lenders in a second, because first off, I want to know, are you guys, this Mortgage Bankers Association, is there validity in this? Like, how accurate is stuff like that? We'll come back to you guys in a question, but I'm going to share this with everybody on the call. And if I can download it, I'll download it. Here's what I want you guys to do. I want you to download this PDF. It is in Slack. If you are not a guest if you are not on a Slack channel, DM me and I'll make sure to get you in there. This is going to give you framework for all of your conversations, open-ended questions, great things to ask, and really being able to have these things into your dialogue. Because here's what I believe with certainty. When you know what to say, when to say it, how to say it, the cadence, the rhythm, the flow, then it makes you really confident. And then you never hit a time when you're communicating with the consumer, it's just like, oh, I don't know what to say. How many of you have ever felt stuck before in a conversation? All right. If you talk to me right now about the market, no matter what, I won't feel stuck. I just won't feel stuck. I'll at least know an angle or a route to take you down, but I'm not going to feel stuck. But that comes from preparing, reading, writing. You guys, my goal in 2024 is to become certified with Phil Jones. There is a fee I can go and pay to sit at a seminar and become a certified wordsmith and actually have that credential. That's just the goal of mine personally. But I'm going to drop that for the people that don't have it. I'll put it in the chat down below. That way you can peep game on it. And then let me see here. I'm going to go from my computer. Hopefully this works. Boom. I think that it did. All right, cool. Give me a thumbs up if you guys can access that in the chat down below. Give me a thumbs up, everyone, if you guys can get that. All right, cool. You're welcome if you're a guest on this call. If you're a team member, you already have access to that in Slack, but let's do this. Do you guys find that that formula is helpful? Do you feel like if you put that into action and you actually practice that you'd have richer conversations with consumers? Is that safe to say? All right, cool. I love it. And thank you, Judith, for that. One more thing before I turn it over to our lenders, before I turn it over to everyone to talk about what they're seeing in the market. I thought this was really cool. And if you don't do it, I'm going to do it. I'm going to create this video. So how many people saw this, this article? It just got posted. Last private island in San Francisco Bay hits the market for 25 million. Has anybody seen this article yet? So the person that is listing this home is somebody that I know that used to be the founder of Climb Real Estate. But this is a really, really cool, different, unique style for you to create a video, something that probably it's going to be done. If it hasn't been done by somebody, I just haven't seen it. But I would check this article. I would make this a video. I just thought that it was cool. It's something different. So you guys can do that. I think that it's really, really creative. So I just wanted to share that with you. So let's go to our lenders. We have Ashley on the call. We have Jeff on the call. Would love to get your insight on this conversation. When we look at the interest rates, where we're going, when we think about like mortgage applications overall right now, like kind of give us a state of the union address of what you guys are seeing from your side, if you wouldn't mind, because you always provide the best detailed information.
Sure. Before giving the State of the Union, I just wanted to share a story of what happened last week with Silvano, and he's not here today because it's his birthday. But not only are we talking to people about their monthly payment, but we should be talking to people about their approval amount. I issued a $450 approval amount, and he calls me, he said, what do I need to do to get this up to 500? I have a house. They want this house. I need to get to 500. They're at 450. I said, I looked at the numbers and it's different for everyone, but I looked at the numbers. I said, get me a $15,000 closing cost credit and we can get them up to 500. So call your lenders that you have existing pre-approvals at, especially for people who are shopping right under where they need to be, even up to 50,000, and call them and just say, hey, I heard a story of somebody that was able to get $50,000 more in approval amount. Let's see if that's an option for you, if we can get closing cost credits, because people are giving them right now. So to open up more broader to your question, the state of the market, and the validity of that report, anybody that says that they can tell the future is lying. Those reports, if you remember last year, they're all saying they're going to be at 4.5 by the end of the year. We very well could be where that report says, but I always tell people, I don't have a crystal ball. I can't tell you what's going to happen tomorrow. I want you to be comfortable with your payment. And if you're comfortable, then we're good. I can tell you what's happening right now. And it's an amazing window that we have right now. I don't know if we're going to have it next month or the month after, but right now, people are giving closing cost credits. So let's take advantage of it. Let's get you a higher approval amount. Let's get you a lower mortgage payment, because that is something that we can take advantage of right now. As far as statistically and mortgage applications, they're down 20% year over year. The last 3 weeks in a row, we have seen a slight uptick as interest rates have been going down. So like I said, this is a window that 110% make your calls right now, because we don't know what's going to happen next week or the week after. As interest rates, if they do keep going down, we're going to see those mortgage apps keep going up, and then this window is just going to be gone.
That's right. And then obviously you guys, know what happens. Competition raises. Here's what I want to share with you guys too. And I definitely don't think that I would share this with too many of your consumers, but I want to have a conversation about this. It said, buyers backed out of deals at a record, the highest rate on record. In October, closed sales fell from 1.8 from a month earlier to 12.5 from a year earlier, hitting the lowest level since the onset of the pandemic on a seasonality adjusted basis. That's partly because many deals are falling through at the last minute. Here's what I want everyone to be conscious about. As hard as you were working to get these deals in the contract right now, what we need to understand at the very highest level is what a consumer is actually feeling, because so many of us don't talk about the emotional roller coaster that they're going through as soon as they submit their EMD, right? So you have to put yourself in the state of a first-time home buyer. Say your price range is right around 500,000, right? You've saved, and no matter what type of financing you have, you see your bank account, you see your savings, just like it just diminishes for the time being, right? We know that the long game, but like that moment of fear and doubt and trepidation and the unknown, we know that consumers are thinking about that. But what I don't see enough of is us actually talking about that. We know that a consumer is feeling scared. We know that. But I said this in our business planning clinic, and I have to make this really, really clear to everyone. Get in front of these conversations. Know that they're not alone. Know that you're experiencing things that all of my consumers go through, and I'm here for you. If you want to talk about anything, I'm here for you. I'm also here to hold your hand and make sure that we're hitting these milestones. And what I want to always help you do is to see that picture down the road, what it does for your family, what it does for your wealth. But I know that it's a scary, scary time. So I'm here for you. My team's here for you. Lean to me if you have any questions and know that you're not alone, right? Like there needs to be deeper connections with your consumers right now, as soon as they get into escrow. If that number of cancellation rates and people backing out is going higher, it means that people are scared. It means people are scared. So I'm not basing this off opinion. I'm basing this off of the data. But what can we do to impact that relationship and talk about the things that are already on our consumers' minds? We must go further with them right now, because we don't even do that. Who's sending them a welcome email, or who's sending them some tea, some sage, some local honey, right? The things that put them at ease in a time where they're feeling a little bit stressed out. Maybe you're that close with your consumer and they smoke, whatever it is, right? I don't care what it is. Look at somebody. I don't care what it is. The point is that this is a time where they need some type of tranquility. Hey, you guys, I want to send you out for an hour massage. I know that it's a really stressful time. So have some tea on me, go out and have a massage on me, relax, and know that everything that you're going through is normal, but you got me, you got my team in your corner to make sure that we cross the finish line. That's powerful, you guys, right? Imagine that is the email template that goes out as soon as someone has submitted their EMD. That is powerful. Be like, oh my God, they understand me. They understand me, because I promise you, consumers are thinking about that. And they're either going to share with you how they're feeling, or they're going to know that you acknowledge that, or they're just going to send you an email when you're sleeping. You're going to say, like, damn it, these people want to back out in the morning. Fuck, what could I have done better? Right? We have to own it. What could I have done better to fully connect with these people and then make sure that I was addressing any of their concerns and fears? Flight or fight response. Yeah, absolutely. So Ashley, wonderful update. I really, really appreciate that. I saw you nodding your head and you raised your hand. What part of it were you raising your hand or nodding your head at?
Just the connecting to them, and everyone is scared. I can think of 2 people off the top of my head that are in contract right now that are fearful, that I've spent 45 minutes with, talking through the pros and cons, visualizing Christmases on their back porch with their family members and how long they've been working for this. And really, like, we're therapists. We have to talk through the emotions with them and realize that they've been working so hard for a reason, and they fell in love with this house, and that's why they're in contract. And just giving them the visual of what their life's going to look like in this house years in the future. And I've noticed, like, complete 180s by the end of the conversations of just taking some time and really walking them through it and making them feel like somebody's there for them.
Yeah, you guys, I cannot tell you, this is a practice that some of the biggest teams in the industry are doing. So what I would recommend that everybody does, because I don't care if you've sold 100 homes or if you are searching for that first home, what I would recommend that everybody does, as soon as that EMD is submitted, you have an email template that goes out, and obviously you can customize this. Now, in that template, I use personally Mixmath. Let's just say this for an example. So it'd be the client's name, and this is something I use internally, but nonetheless, is that you can set this up to where they are getting an email and something heartfelt from you at day 3. At day 10, when contingency is removed, when loan contingency is removed, appraisal contingency, inspection contingency, like you can have all these milestone emails that are going out, but the very first one that should go out is that, hey, Tom, I know how you're feeling. Others have felt the same way. I am here for you. Here's a little something that we send to all of our consumers just to make sure that you have some time to relax. Check, you know, the link below. It's this, or I just mailed you something, or it's going to show up on your doorstep. But every single one of us should put this into our sequence to where they're getting something that's a little bit more heartfelt from us to mitigate this number right here. And because we know buyers are backing out. So last thing I want for you guys to do is to lose deals. Now, obviously it's going to happen, but I want those ones to stick that you actually put in the contract. So let's go to a couple of other people. Let's go to Vernon. Vernon, I want to hear from you. You know, Jessica would love to hear from you. And then Jeff, I would love to get you on the mic to hear a little bit from your vantage point. So Vernon, you know, armed with the information, the Q, the F.Q and things that we're talking about right now, where's your head at? And kind of talk me through with what you believe is happening in our market right now.
Yeah, man, I think this formula is fantastic for me. I'm going to apply it today as it relates to my sales calls more so from a seller's perspective, because that has been the sentiment from sellers, right? That there is not really a value for them to sell the property right now. That's the feedback that I've been getting. But now that we've got this rate at what it is, you know, that's going to impact buyers coming into the market. So it becomes more attractive for some of my potential listings to maybe expedite their timeline, right? And this is definitely going to be the pitch that I'm throwing when I'm making my phone calls this afternoon. It just really simplifies it for me, and it confidently has me feeling that I'm speaking from a place of navigation, if you will, right? Using data and calling with something to say, something of value and something of substance. So I really appreciate that, man.
Yeah, and look at this. Let's just have this conversation. So obviously over the weekend, there's going to be tons of open houses. So even if the data is not specific to just that one little area, so let's say there is 10 open houses that you know about, that you just did a quick search, and I would be calling all those listing agents on Monday and be like, hey, I'm curious, I'm working with the seller right now. I was curious, how many people rolled through your open house this last weekend? Wonderful. How many people downloaded disclosures? Cool, that's one. All right, that was 25 there. That was 10 there. Hey, Tom, I have some information for you that you definitely need to know. I did a little research on open houses in the market over the last weekend, and out of 10 open houses, there was 95 families that came through those open houses. Tom, why do you think so many people came to open houses this last weekend? Well, Tom, did you know that interest rates hit the lowest they had been in X amount of months? So what is happening with buyer demand? Is it going up or going down, Tom? It's going up. Yeah, you're absolutely right. So I wanted to share that information because I know that you said that you'd consider selling your home when interest rates start to come down. And I wanted to ask you, based on that information, would you consider having another conversation with me about listing your home? Yes, no, or indifferent. I have something that was quality because all I did is I spent a half an hour. How many? Wonderful. How many? Wonderful. And now, guess what I have? I have the F part of my conversation. I have facts.
Yeah.
And now I can go in and have some depth. I just thought about that. it's that easy for you guys, right? But think about the quality of conversation that you would have.
That's good.
Good stuff, right? Good. I love it. Vernon, let's, who did I say was going next? Was it Jessica? Segura Hernandez?
Yeah.
You know, hey, listen, shout out to
Good
you.
morning.
Love the pie drive that you and Marcelina did. Loved it. Loved
Thank you.
All right. So talk to me based on what you know, this formula. Where's your head at? How can you start to use these things? And if there's one thing you can call a consumer about today, what would it be?
Yeah, well, I think this formula is really helpful for me, especially because, you know, I have trouble when I make my phone calls. So I feel like this is gonna help me know what to say. And I feel this is also helpful because I have a few buyers who are still waiting for rates to come down. So I'm gonna go ahead and give them a call and use the script that Ryan had mentioned earlier, because I think it's really cool, you know, just to kind of break it down to them. Oh, have you thought about what your monthly payments might look like at this rate? So yeah.
Totally. I love it. You know, you guys, we're going to put this into obviously a script, and I'll provide that for everybody. But I think I might have it here already. Judith, if you have it ready, can you drop it in the chat down below? Is it ready? Judith going once, Judith going twice. All right, so hopefully we'll.
It's in the order. It is ready, but I just have to arrange it and post it in, transfer it in Google Docs. In that way, everyone
Okay,
can,
all right, cool.
Can check it.
So we'll drop it when it's ready. We'll drop it in templates and scripts. And if you guys don't follow Tom Toole, make sure to follow Tom Toole. And if you don't have it downloaded, make sure exactly what to say. You can buy the book, but we've fastized it and we've put it in the Slack, and you also have it now down below. But Jessica, I love that you said this. Like, you have to know what to say, when to say it, and how to say it. That's the approach, right? I don't want to feel like I'm stuck. Hey, how are you? Good, just checking in. All right, thanks, Jessica. All right, well, let me know if you need anything. And then you hang up the phone and you're like, that was so fucking bad. That was so bad. Happens all the time. So if I can do anything for you, and we as a collective can do anything for each other, is that we come together and we say, okay, let's perfect that. Because trust me, I'm going to come back to this conversation in our next couple of sessions. I want to see how well you guys are performing on this. And the ones that are executing that at the highest level, you'll see the depth in their dialogue. So Jessica, good stuff. Let's go over to Aaron Chris. Aaron Chris, let's get some dialogue from you. Excuse me. See where you're at using this formula. Share with us where your thoughts are and how you can put this into your flow.
Well, I like that opener facts questions, because I do fall into that category of, hey, I'm just checking in. And that is probably one of the biggest mental blocks I have, even with picking up the phone. It's like, what am I going to say? And then like you're racking your brain, and then you're like, screw it, I'm just going to call. And then it just ends up being like, hey, I'm just checking in. Right. So the opener, the facts, and the question is good. I like the way that Ryan broke it down. And I think another element, actually, it kind of created another element of that conversation, in the sense that we can have a discussion about how that $200 savings impacts you, or how that $200 increases your purchase power, right? So it creates a whole lot of dialogue that goes further than just checking in, because obviously we do want to just check in, and that's probably part of the reason why we lead with that question. Hey, I'm just checking in, because that is our intent, to check in with them to make sure that they're good, but to keep them engaged, and to keep, to show your value as a real estate professional, a mortgage professional, whatever. We're getting in depth with that stuff. So I do really like that, and it gives you a lot of it gives you some structure to how you're having the questions, the opener, the facts, the question. So I'm excited about it, and I feel a little more reassured in making my calls and not fumbling over the just checking in stuff.
I love it. And you guys, I don't think I put the article in here, but let me copy this article. Here's what I want you to do is take the article, highlight 3 sections of it, and be like, okay, I'm going to use that section right there, and I'm going to put it into my flow. So what we do, we get ready, we get our coffee, we get our juice or whatever, we get our water, like, I'm going to make some calls. But what we need to do is we need to audit the calls that we're going to make. We say, okay, these are some seller calls, these are some buyer calls, and this is the formula that I'm going to take these calls through. So now when I'm looking at my database, when I'm looking at my notes, like, I have depth in my dialogue. I'm not just calling for some surface level. Like, I instantly know I could take them down, or at least ask one question that's going to provoke them to think a little bit differently based on the way I asked it. So this is a really good practice. I'm glad you like it, Aaron. Let's go to Jeff. Jeff, you had your hand up, big dog. Let's hear your contributions.
Hey, Elias, can I share a screen? I just have a slide.
I'm going to give you share screen rights right now. And then, it's all yours.
All right. So just back to the interest rate conversation that, Ashley started, and, you're incorporating into a lot of your conversations when it comes to payment and, of course, being able to afford a little bit more from a loan perspective. This is, Federal Reserve sets the short-term rates. They have a meeting coming up in December. These are all the meetings over the next, 2024, next month, and then all the meetings in 2024. And this is the likelihood of the Fed cutting rates. Now, they're very data dependent. So, of course, these percentages are going to change. These are Wall Street analysts that are basically betting on, when the first rate cut is going to come. So, of course, 0% chance really anybody feels that it, in December, there's going to be a cut. January, small cut, 4%. But you can see as the year goes on, I mean, they're anticipating, these Wall Street analysts, that there's going to be a Fed rate cut. And you can start to see by the time we get to May, I mean, it jumps over that 50%. It jumps over a 50-50 barrier. So to that point, again, in the conversations that you're having, one, it looks as though rates are going to come down. Elias showed that the interest rate forecast from the MBA earlier, and this kind of mirrors that. And we don't know how much they're going to cut. It's going to be data dependent, all those types of things. But again, when you're having conversations now, this is good information to tell them in the fact that, look, rates are going to, it's forecasted that rates are going to potentially come down. That's a good thing. But what that's going to do, it will bring more inventory in, but it's going to bring a ton more buyers in. Again, I mean, we've been talking about this and the competition that is going to be there. And so now is probably the best time to buy. Rates have come down a little bit. It's a little bit of the off season. So, if you wait until May or June or July, we're going to be in the middle of buying season. Rates are going to go down. And it's just going to be more of a frenzy by that time. So there's light at the end of the tunnel. I think we've kind of plateaued from a rate perspective. It's not, we're not anticipating another rate hike by the Fed. We just don't know exactly when the Fed's going to cut. But, again, data dependent as we see earnings come out, GDP for the fourth quarter, how does the holiday buying season go, all those types of things. But the conversation you could be having right now is that if this does come to fruition, which it most likely is going to in some form, it's just going to get, more competition out there. So.
Yeah. And I really appreciate this chart and that perspective, because if you weren't selling homes in 2020 and 2021, it was the wild, wild west. Nobody was offering seller concessions. Getting credit for anything was absolutely unheard of. It was unheard of. Here's what was common: paying well over asking price, going non-contingent, eliminating every single protection that you had, because the desirability or the perceived value is what people were winning on, right? You have your market value, right? Like this house is appraised at X amount, and then you have perceived value. I want to live there. I don't care. It's competitive. Let's go 100,000, 200, 300. That's the market that we're in. So if someone thinks that they're not able to compete right now with an interest rate that might be a little bit higher, can they even compete when someone says, oh, okay, I'm going to go $100,000, $200,000 in? Because that's what was winning. That was when like what I saw in 2020 and 2021, I felt like it was the white collar market, meaning people had money, people had savings, people were winning at a very high level. And then what happened when the interest rates started to come down, when they started to go up, I believe that the market started to become a blue collar market where anybody was able to become a homeowner, right? And we saw this dynamic shift to where it wasn't so far over asking price to where like a normal person could actually afford, because they said, you know what? I'm all right with 7.5. I'm okay with that. I just want to be a homeowner, right? And that's why so many people, first-time home buyers, are up this year, right? That's why it went from 26% to over 30% this year, because they're like, I just want to get into the market, right? Miss me with all that $100,000, $200,000 over. Just give me a chance to play right now. So I believe that we're in what I believe a white collar, blue collar market. But obviously things are going to change. Things are going to change. So you guys, my hope is this, that you guys all have depth in your dialogue, right? You shouldn't be that person that goes to an event or sitting at your dinner table tomorrow with your family and your Uncle Tom, who bought 7 houses in Michigan in 1998, is telling you how bad it is with his hands on the hips and he's drinking his beer. You're going to have those conversations tomorrow. Somebody at the dinner table is going to be a negative Nancy about the market. I promise you this. Somebody's going to say, oh, Ryan, how's that real estate? Ready for a crash, aren't you? You know what, Auntie? I'm so glad that you say that. I want to share something with you because I want to educate. Like that, it's going to come up, you guys. So if you guys can work on some of this just today, 1 or 2 things. Oh, I'm so glad that you said that, Uncle Jive and Uncle Joe. I'm so glad that you said that, Uncle Joe. I'm so glad that you said that, Uncle Jerry. Like now I have some depth, right? So no matter what they hit me with, I can have some really good conversations because it's going to happen. Evelyn, you had your hand up. So let's hear from you, and then we're going to go full circle and close out the room.
Hey, hello, everyone. Thank you for inviting me, Elias.
You're welcome.
Well, fact to what were you saying? It's when clients are like, well, market's going to crash. Facts. Lenders, the clients who are falling behind on their payments, the servicers or lenders are helping these clients to stay in their houses. Number 2, there's a lot of equity. Owners have a lot of equity. Number 3, 5% of the mortgages now are adjustable. In 2008, it was almost 100%. So it's a big difference from 2008 to now. So it's a completely different market. And a lot of people are sitting like, it's going to crash. It's going to crash. It's going to crash. I was like, good luck. I don't see it. I don't see it crashing. You know, it's very different.
Yeah, and I appreciate your insight. So you guys, listen, let's go to a couple people. I just want to get a couple key takeaways. We have some guests on the line today. Jonathan, I don't know you, bro. My name's Elias. I'm the Director of Sales and Coaching for Fast Real Estate. What's up, big dog? How are you? First off, how did you learn about our group? And if I can get a takeaway from you.
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yep, loud and clear.
Perfect. Yeah, I heard about your group from, I believe it was Sophia.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
Wonderful.
Yeah, and some takeaways from this. I think for me, I'm still working on getting my license, so I don't have my license just yet, but I do think a lot about like these communications between buyers and between agents and clients. So I definitely did get some good takeaways from this. Talking kind of how talk to clients about the market and what's going on, and about like the fact that really as soon as you can buy is the best time to buy, not necessarily waiting for whatever to happen. So
well, I love it, man. Thanks for being here. You have a wonderful resource in Sophia. Looking forward to having future conversations. You guys, we're about action on this call in the chat down below. Let's give a huge thanks out to Judith. She was able to transcribe everything that we just spoke about. I saw it on a video. I said, let's put this into action. She transcribed it. You guys have the link down below. So thank you, Judith, for taking such quick, swift action on that. Grab that, have that, put that into your flow, and do not sleep on that. Let's go over to Marcelina. Marcelina, key takeaways from our time together today.
Hi, everyone. Sorry, I was working on a file, but I was chiming in. And the key takeaway was I was really impressed by that photo that Jeff had pulled up. And I took a picture of it because that's a good conversation to have, actually, for all of us to have with all of our business partners. Look, this is what the forecast is. This is what it's going to look like. So it gives all of those buyers that are afraid, hey, look, if I prepare now and I listen to my lender to do and to make these steps, then I can purchase at this time. So it actually helps. A lot of people don't think that is possible and they have to wait longer. But this is a better forecast and a visual to actually show everybody.
That's right, you guys. Once again, I want everyone on this call to be viewed as a doctor, as a lawyer, as a CPA, where your words are gospel when you speak them, because you speak with so much depth in your dialogue that people really understand that you are the expert. And so this is why the spending time every single morning reading and educating yourself on all the nuances of the market. Now, listen, I don't expect for you to understand everything. I don't understand everything, but at a very high level, I at least can have some dialogue about what's going on. And so make sure that's part of your flow, not just coming here. Like now, so the education piece is one part of it, but now the articulation part of it is even more important. Think about what happened while you guys were just on the spot today. Samandi, Vernon, Katie, Ryan, like that was just on the spot. But imagine if you just spent some time, you recorded yourself and like, let me listen to that. All right, cool. When you actually spent some time in it, how much better you would be. This is on the spot and you guys did really good. So practice that. Put it into your calendar of how much time I'm going to actually be reading about the market and be students of this game. So you guys, before we head out, once again, I just wanted to say happy Thanksgiving to you and to your families. You guys are a really, really important part of my career. And I just want to say thank you guys for showing up, for doing the work and being here. I'm eternally grateful for you guys and very thankful to be in this space with you. So go enjoy some food tomorrow, fill your bellies, fill your soul, have some laughs, drink some beer, have some pie, just spend that time with your family and really, really embrace that. So you guys have an amazing, amazing Thanksgiving. And as always, keep it moving toward your dreams, goals, and vision. Peace.
Peace. Happy Thanksgiving, you guys.
Thank you.